and I run the. Somebody just entered the room. Did you see that, Chad?
Yeah, Joanne Johnson.
Okay, Joanne, what's up? So getting like all these texts. Okay. And I run an agency here in Greenville called CT Web Design, and I also run another one. They're both pretty much the same agency. I just have different branches, I guess you could call it. CT Web Design, I do just about any website that comes across my plate. And then Winning Edge Digital, I just do sports. So the sports stuff is very slow right now because of COVID, but starting to pick up, which is nice. I also have been running this meetup for, I don't know, it's probably going on about 6-7 years, maybe 8, which is hard to believe. And I also help Kaya run the elementary meetup. So that's a little bit about me. But in this meetup, we're going to talk about Local by Flywheel. It's a great tool if you want to build a website locally on your computer and you don't have hosting. You don't have to have Flywheel to install this plugin. You don't even have to have an account with Flywheel, which is really awesome. They have a free version and a pro version. The pro version, I think, gives you a little bit more like multi-site integration, a few other things. I don't use the pro version, so I haven't really looked into it that much. I do have a couple of multi-sites on my Flywheel account. So I'm really, with my sports stuff, I'm starting to do multi-site for all my sports recruiting websites. It just makes it a little easier to manage a bunch of websites, and I'm pretty sure before long I'm gonna have about 100. So I don't want to have 100 separate installs. So you might see me upgrading to Pro soon, but for right now I'm using the free version. And so let's kind of get into it. The first thing you want to do, of course, in all things when you're doing something new, is download and install. And these slides are at. I'll post them in the chat right quick. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if this is the right one. Yep. Okay. So let me post them in the chat. Let's see. Where is this? Okay. Chat. Okay. So let's see. Everyone. Where's okay? Here we go. All right. So there is the slides if you want to walk through them. And all right, so Local by Flywheel, the first thing again you want to do is download it, install it. There's a button on here on the slides that will take you to their website. So you can click over and download. And then you want to install it. After you install it, this is what the interface is going to look like. It's really cool. I really like it. Great tool. It makes installing WordPress on your machine a whole lot easier. The second thing is you want to kind of navigate the interface and really get familiar with it, because if you're a developer, you'll be in this a lot, especially when you don't have access to the internet, because you can use this when you don't have access to the internet. So, which makes it a lot more nice. Let's do that right quick. I'm gonna navigate over to Flywheel. Again, this is what the interface looks like. Here's where you log into the hub, or you log into Flywheel if you have an account. And over this right here is all your sites. So if you're just installing this, this is going to be blank. And then of course you'll click this little add button to add a site, but we'll go over that in a second. Right here is a list of all your sites that are remote if you use Flywheel, or if you use WP Engine, because WP Engine owns Flywheel, so you can integrate Flywheel. You can integrate WP Engine into Flywheel. You just log in. I don't know if you saw where I connected right there, but you go up here and ask questions, guys, as I go along, because I'm just gonna I'm running through this kind of fast, so I want y'all to stop me if you have questions. So,
Cliff, I may
yeah.
need a clarification.
Okay.
I thought the integration of Flywheel and WP Engine was in the Pro version. I may be wrong.
Nope. Just
It's
in the free version.
in the free version. In other words, if
Yes,
you got
sir.
their hosting, okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's in the free version.
Gotcha.
And so you just click the login button. Same here. They both look like this. If you're not logged in, I'm logged in under my Flywheel because I use Flywheel all the time. So I don't have a WP Engine account, or I don't have a WP Engine customer, that client that has WP Engine. If I did, I would be using this. I wish you could log into multiple WP Engine accounts. That would be something kind of cool, but at least you can log into one. So that's a little like that. If after you log in to your Flywheel or WP Engine, you're going to see sites like this, and it'll say connected to a Flywheel account, or if it's not if you don't have a local site, and these are two separate installs, so don't get confused. If you don't have one connected, it's going to look like this. You just hit pull like that, and then you tell it which one you want to pull. Oh, this is a new thing. So they just recently give you the ability to pull from staging. That was a pro feature. They just released it to the free version. And you can even give it a custom URL like this if I wanted to say ClemsonSportsNews.com or whatever. That's just how that works. You can also pull it into an existing site that you just manually created, so which is really nice. So that's these are all your remote sites. And that's this little icon right here. This are plugins that people have written for Flywheel, for local, which you can do that. If you want to write a plugin for Flywheel or for local, you can do that. That do certain things. This plugin kind of helps you take notes of what you're doing. If you use PHP Storm, it's got an integration of that. If you use VS Code, it's got an integration for that. This is a new one. They just released this to the free version. This was a pro version, a pro feature. So now you can optimize all your images before you push them to the live site, which is super nice. You don't have to install a plugin for each install. You just, I hadn't figured out how to use it yet. I've installed it. I'm not sure if it just automatically does it or if you have to hit a button inside the interface yet. I haven't really used it, but yeah, so this is just a really nice feature. And then, does anybody have any questions about the add-ons? Because these are pretty, here's where you can create your own add-on. These are pretty straightforward. You just click on it, you hit install, and, you know, enable or whatever if you don't have it installed. And let's see, Table Plus is on. Yeah, so that's pretty much straightforward on that. This is kind of a support. If you have a support question about Flywheel, I mean about.
I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
Can you buy domains through Flywheel?
No. I use
Okay.
Namecheap.
Gotcha.
Yep. Love Namecheap. It's excellent. It's cheap. Uh-oh. We're going to have to relaunch this because for some reason we only have 10 minutes left. I just got a notification. So this is going to be a pain in the rear. I thought I had the pro account, but I guess I don't. So if it automatically kicks you out, just go back in it. Automatically just click on the link again and you should be able to get right back in. So sorry about that. Thought I had the pro version through Elementor. So, but I guess I don't. So, but this is where you can ask questions about installs, different things like that. You know, if you have a site that you want to ask them a question about, you can, it says no sites created. I haven't ever used this, so I'm not sure. That button's not working, so I guess I can't use that. That must be a pro feature. I have no clue. So, all right. So now that we've kind of run through the interface, oh, there's one more thing I want to show you. Preferences. So there's appearances. So you can pick a light theme or a dark theme, or you can tell it, you know, automatic pick it, whatever your computer, like for example, I have dark mode on my Mac, so it automatically pulls that dark theme. And if you have light mode, then it's going to pull light mode or white mode. You can set a default terminal or what do you call it? Yeah, so a terminal. I use Hyper, so that's my default. And then you can pick a default browser. So I'm gonna change that to Chrome because that's what I use. And then you hit apply, and then so your new site defaults. And I'll go over this environment later, but you can pick your default environment. If you pick custom, it's gonna ask you a few questions, but I pick my default email and the default extension I want on my domains, because your domains will have, like cliftonkennedy.local is what it'll be. Or it can't be .dev, because .dev is an actual TLD extension now. So, but it can be .clifton, whatever you want it to be. Or you can just leave it at local. Exporting, when you export it, you can export sites out of here and send them to somebody if they're using local, and then they can import them to their local, and it'll look exactly like what you created, which that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the advanced here's where you say, I want it to be a site domain, or I just want it to be local / I think it's like 8888 / the folder name. I use site domains because it's a lot easier. And I use I turn the development mode menu on.
Cliff, there's
Blueprint.
another,
Go for it.
there's another reason to change that router mode.
Yeah.
If you want to have this on your local network at home or wherever, put it in local, and then you can look up the port numbers, and you can access the site by IP address and port number on your own network.
Yeah.
But you would want to turn it off if you're going to go through the other one you haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. So, so then the next thing is blueprints. And this is another thing I like about Flywheel, is you can set up a site blueprint. So for example, I have a bunch of I have my default theme that I use for all development. I have all the plugins I want, everything. And this is my latest one that I can actually delete this one because this was back in 5.10 and I don't need it. I have everything in this this blueprint, and I'll show you how to create one. And add-ons. Here's the actual image optimizer. I don't have it turned on, so strip out my metadata. Nope. Oh, okay. That's just giving me some options. I don't really want it to strip out my metadata. And I'm gonna hit apply. So that's pretty much. Anybody have any questions about the preferences? No? All right. Well, let's move on. So we're going to get out of the preferences area. Did anybody have any questions about these different icons over here, or different parts of local? Pretty straightforward. Thumbs up if it is, thumbs down if it isn't. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to create a site. And right now, as you can see, I have 3 sites going. And I just did this one just so I could take some screenshots of what you guys see. So over here. So next we are I'm going to show you how to create your first site. And so these are some screenshots that I took earlier of the different steps to set up your site and what that does and everything. So, so let's go do that right quick. So if you like I said, if you have questions, just ask away. So the first thing, this is going to be blank if you just installed it. I've been using this forever, and so I have a lot of sites on here, and it doesn't matter. One thing I will say, before they changed this to local, it used to be called local lightning, and they changed the way that this program runs. This program sucked really bad, really, really bad, and I never used it. I used it, and then I went away from it, and then I tried it out again probably a year later, and I haven't left. All right, so now we're going to create our first site. So you'll hit add down here at the bottom. Let's show you that again. You hit add right here. There's this little plus icon. And you hit add. So there's some advanced options. I always open this up. And we're going to call this Flywheel Meetup. All right. So as you can see, it automatically put that local URL right there, and it put a dash right here, right? So I don't want that. I do not want a dash in my URL. So you can take that out. And keep a space right here, because this is just the name. This is the name of the site. And here's where it's stored. So if you wanted to put it in another folder, you could do that. I never do that. Also, one thing I didn't tell you after install, hold on. It puts a folder called local sites, and it puts it in the root of your computer. Right there. So I just added it to the sidebar to make it easier for me to get to, but that's where it puts all your sites in a folder called local sites in the root of your computer. So that's just something that you might want to know. It'll probably ask you where you want to put that, but and you can probably change that if you want to, but I just leave it as default. So so now that we are back over here, I've got my meetup. You know, I took the dash out. Tell it where I want to put it. This is where you can make it a blueprint. If you say no, it is gonna it's just gonna make it a blank install, and you won't have any plugins. You'll have, I think, one theme, which is the latest theme. I think it's 2020. It might have two themes, but it has no plugins whatsoever, which I like, because I hate having to go in and delete Hello Dolly and what the other one is, some anti-spam thing, default WordPress thing.
Kismet.
Yeah, Kismet. Yeah, I hate going and deleting that. So it's blank, totally blank. And this was the first 45 minutes of the meetup, and I'll merge them all and everything. So yeah, so if we wanted to use this blueprint, we could hit that, which I do, because I want to show you guys what it does. And then you hit create site from blueprint. Actually, I'm not going to do that, because I want you guys to see everything, all these different steps. So we're going to hit continue. This is where you can set your own custom environment. You know, if you wanted to use the most recent version of PHP, you could do that. You could use Apache or Nginx. I think it defaults to Nginx. And then you could use whatever version of MySQL you wanted. So that's what custom is. But I'm going to go with preference, which is PHP 7.3.5, Nginx, and MySQL 8.0.16. But you can click this at any point and change it. So I use the default, and the reason I use the default is because I think that's what Flywheel has on their server. So I just don't touch it. If you know what your if you use another server and you know what that is, then that's where you would use that. So then I hit continue, and then I give it a WordPress username. And then I give it an email. Is this a multi-site? You can say yes. I guess you can do multi-site. Huh. You just can't. I wonder if that's something new. Huh. Maybe. That must be something new. So, yeah, so then we'll hit add site. And it will start creating my sites or my site. It's gonna ask for permission. Your computer's gonna ask for permission to create for Flywheel or for local to create a folder on your computer. So you'll enter your computer password, whatever that is, you know, your computer password to log in or whatever. Oh shoot. So you'll just hit the password and it'll install everything. And it looks like we're good to go. It's got the latest version of WordPress. There's your domain name. You know, you can look at your database. And I just found out recently that if you use SQL Pro, they stopped developing that program. I heard somebody say that on Facebook. And for some reason, when you click this, it doesn't want to open it properly or whatever. So I don't know if you use that program. But I've started using this, and this just opens it up in a, you know, your the whatever it's called. So if you want to look at your database, you can do that. Utilities. You can. I'm not quite sure what Mailhawk is. I guess you can. Oh, it shows you what emails. Huh. Okay. Didn't know that. I've been using this forever and didn't know what that meant. So, cool. Learning things as I do a presentation. Here's where you can run the configuration to PHP Storm and the tools. And here's where you're going to, you know, instant reload. All these are pro features, I think. Yeah, link checker. And here's where image optimization is. And you can say scan. There's not going to be any images in this one. But for example, let's go to this site. This is a site that I created. Well, first, let's just go to this Flywheel site real quick. And go through it, and I'll show you what that image thing does in a minute. Here's where you click this, you view the site. You click this, you go to the admin. Pretty self-explanatory. So if you want to view the site, there's your site. And if you want to go to the admin, it automatically opens up the admin. Anybody got any questions? I know this is pretty self-explanatory if you know WordPress. So, but as you can see, if you go to plugins, you have no plugins. And if you go to appearance themes, you're going to have 3 themes. And for me, I always delete these 2 because I use Hello. I use Hello from Elementor, and so I only keep this one. So let's go back to Flywheel. So let's, anybody have any questions about the interface after you install a WordPress, after you install install WordPress through Flywheel? No? Cool. That means I'm doing my job, better than I have in other meetups. So, cool. So one thing you can do now, this is a new feature, is you can star certain websites. And what it'll do is it'll put them up here. So as you can see, these are the ones that I work on 90% of the time. So I start them and I put them up here. And then these are the ones that I hardly ever work on or do anything new to. Let me say that. I update plugins, of course. I actually need to start this one. So yeah, that's a new feature. Right down here, it tells how many sites you have running. So let's say I'm like, okay, I did some stuff on the site, and I want my client to see it, right? I want my client to see the site after I did something. So there's this little thing called live link. And if you hit enable, it's going to create a link. And there's your link. So if I were to click this right here, bam. So I have a live link that I can send my client. Say, hey, what you think of your new site? And you don't even have to have it on a server, which is freaking awesome. One of the best features of local, I think. Probably one of the main reasons I was turned on by local, and local kind of is awesome because of that. Because I use this a lot now to get client feedback, especially when I don't want to create a dev environment on their server if I'm doing it on their server. Or I don't even want to create a staging site on my server, to be perfectly honest with you, even though Flywheel has a staging environment. I just don't want to. I don't like to. I do it when I have to, but I use this a lot, and it's great. This feature used to suck really bad back in the day. But it works great now. So,
question.
Yes.
My experience has been the exact opposite. I find that if I call it up just like you did, it's fine. But if I call it up from a remote device or a mobile device, and particularly if you've got a VPN on your mobile or you got 111 or any of those things, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't. If it works, it's extremely slow. That's why. If you got a lot of images on there, that's been my experience. Is that not true?
I guess not, because I haven't had a problem with that. So let me try it. I'm on my mobile device right now.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to use it to check the site out on a mobile device and ended up just doing it internally.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat, and you guys tell me.
Oh, you're placing your URL in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And y'all let me know what if it works. Works fine on my phone, so it must have gotten better.
Actually, I bet I know why. Mine's not good.
Yeah, so actually, you know what? I sent it to admin. I don't know who the admin is. And it here, let me post it again.
Did you post? I started saying, did you post something in the? There
Yeah.
it is.
I sent it to admin, whoever that was. I don't know why, but
I need to send it to email to get it to my phone.
yeah. Well, so that's that. I know this only runs for like 8 hours and then it disables because ngrok only lets you run it for like 8 hours and then you have to redo the link. So that's that service. It looks like you can also install an SSL on here.
When I click the link, I get a too many connections error page.
Okay. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I feel like so. Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like that is about it, guys. I mean, there's not much more to really, do and talk about because it's pretty I mean, the rest of it I feel like is pretty self-explanatory. So